the most challenging aspects of teaching is having to create lesson plans each week. And in some cases, we might feel as though we are creating anywhere from 8 to 10 lessons per day, depending on the content areas that you teach and whether you're pulling students for small groups. What if I told you that you could reduce the amount of time you lesson plan and continue to grow as a professional? What if I could promise you that you could potentially leave your work at school and never have to plan at home again? Sounds like a dream, right? Well, it isn't, because over the past 4 years, I have been able to perfect this notion of reducing my lesson planning and increasing my productivity so that I could spend more time with my family at home. It's no secret that teaching comes with many responsibilities, and with all those responsibilities, they start to really pile up, and it can feel overwhelming, and it's hard to find yourself on the upside of that battle. Planning is one of the most challenging of those responsibilities. You might be teaching multiple subjects, or you have various groups that you need to plan for, or you're just trying to accommodate a variety of levels in your students. No matter your situation, finding a method that can help you reduce your planning time and increase your confidence when you walk into that classroom each day can be a tremendous benefit. In this case, we can look to other teachers or even outside professions to really help us solve this problem. So for example, big businesses all around the world have the ability to do so much in a small amount of time, not only because they hire a lot of people, but because they have systems and processes that help to support and organize their day-to-day operations. Now, we don't run businesses in our classrooms, but we can take those lessons from those various professions that will help us with our management and also our productivity. So you're probably asking, well, what systems and processes can you start to implement? Well, I have found the one trick that will completely change how you plan your lessons. But first, I wanted to share that my book, Building the Literacy Block, is available for pre-order. This is the book that I wish that I had when I first moved from kindergarten to upper elementary. In this book, I discuss everything from structuring your classroom to launching a reading and writing workshop and how you can engage and support your students in their learning. So I'd like to share some of the endorsements from this book. Shane from Fantastically Fourth on Instagram says, Bridget does a fabulous job at giving a plethora of concrete ideas for upper elementary teachers to meaningfully structure their literacy block. Her emphasis on intentional planning, building routines, and putting students in the driver's seat of their own learning supports students' critical thinking while simultaneously cultivating their love for reading. Michelle from Pocketful of Primary says, every upper elementary teacher can benefit from Bridget Spackman's deep knowledge of effective instruction and the structure, strategies, and specific examples provided in building the literacy block. And then finally, Leslie, a classroom teacher in Georgia, says that building the literacy block is the PD you need. Written by a teacher for teachers, Bridget Spackman asks all the right questions that make you take a second and third look at the routines and procedures and how you can teach standards, skills, and strategies. She offers intentional, practical, and effective solutions to bridge reading and writing into the true literacy block. The examples she provides let you know that she is a real working classroom teacher. Whether you are a first year or a veteran teacher, building the literacy block is a must for your personal bookshelf. Thank you so much to all three of those ladies for their wonderful words, and I am going to leave a link in the description box to Amazon and Barnes & Noble so that you can pre-order the book today. Did I mention that I have like a little bonus for you guys if you pre-order today? I'm going to share that a little bit later inside of this video. Okay, so you're probably wondering what the one trick that will change the way you plan. The answer lies in developing a structure to your literacy block. The beginning of the year is spent helping students understand the routines and procedures. This process helps to create habits that will make them successful all year long. Your structure is precisely that, is a routine that develops a habit for your planning. Keep in mind that this structure does not change throughout the year, but as you shift content focus, you can make slight adjustments to your lessons. So for example, let's take a look at my structure of my own classroom. Keep in mind that this might change from year to year depending on the needs of my own students. So I teach in a departmentalized school, and so I teach ELA and social studies. I have 2 different blocks of students, and they range from about an hour and 20 minutes to about an hour and 40 minutes, depending on if I'm teaching social studies that day. We only do it 3 times out of a 6-day cycle. My goal is to create a structure from the moment my students enter the classroom to the point where they leave. When my students come in, they go directly to their seats and they read the message. I use the same message for both of my classes, but one might be tailored a little bit differently depending on what I need to communicate to that group of students. The message will always indicate what I want students doing when they're walking into my classroom, and this can be anything from reading independently, working on a software such as like Typing Club, Freckle, iExcel, or they can free write. Sometimes I like to offer my students choice. And so once I am ready to be able to get started with my classroom and get it rolling, we have a little warm-up activity that takes anywhere from about 5 to 8 minutes. This is quick, and it can come in the form of like whiteboard practice or writing in their journals. And I want to make it very clear that I do not like printing out pre-made morning work. These are often disconnected from my lesson, and it contains materials that I haven't even taught yet. So I try to be intentional with that. After the warm-up, learners will head to the meeting area. We will discuss news, goals for the day, and then hold any form of book talks if we have them that day. Next up is my lesson, which lasts no more than 15 to 20 minutes. Learners will have some form of a demonstration from me, and then they're also going to have the ability to practice collaboratively so that I can provide them feedback. I assign an activity for students to complete independently, and during this portion of my day, I'm able to start pulling my small groups or meet with students for individual conferences. As students complete independent practice, they will move to do one of the following, which is like free read or free write, or they work on their goals using the goal station that I have in my classroom. We end the day the way that we started it, and that's by going to the meeting area to review the objective, share some of the wins from the day, and then discuss the stories that we've either read or some are working on writing. This process creates my structure, and it's the same structure that I use each day. I can change the content, but that process stays the same. You're probably wondering, but does that really seem boring to your students? And no, because the lessons, the stories, the activities, these change, and that's what keeps their interest. The structure gives me the ability to know exactly what I need to plan. There's no reinventing the wheel each week. So now let's talk about why this is important. First, having a structure helps you reduce the time that you spend planning. Because I know that I have a message, warm-up, a lesson, independent practice, and small groups, I'm able to take those components and put them directly into my planner. Again, this structure makes planning just a little bit more predictable. In fact, I even have a structure for how I run my small groups that I follow. So the consistency and knowing of what to expect allows me to stay focused on that lesson objective, but also getting my lessons finished during class. I don't have to plan by times anymore. Rather, I'm looking at each component and the amount of time that I have allotted for that component, and then that allows me to plan my day and fill it accordingly. Second is that it creates stability for your students. One of the key factors that results in behaviors that are uncontrollable is when students don't have a clear understanding of what they should be doing. Creating a structure will help build habits into your students, and it's going to lower the questions on what students are expected to do each day. Students will know the expectations, and while you will still have some who would try and pretend that they don't really know what's happening, you will find more and more of your students will embrace the consistency. Finally, This creates intention with crafting lessons that are meaningful and well-rounded. One of the greatest challenges that teachers face is the feeling of not having a clear picture for where you are going in your lessons. The structure you create will force you to be intentional with your time and how you conduct your lessons. Hopefully, after hearing the benefits of creating a sound structure in your day, you are probably ready to begin looking at how to make sense of your own time in your classroom. Well, I have a special offer that you don't want to miss. I have created 5 lessons that will help you to define the possibilities of your literacy block and reduce the time that you spend planning. I'm going to give you components and time frames for structuring your literacy block, and I'm going to discuss how to structure your mini lessons. And I give you options for what your literacy block could look like depending on the amount of time that you have. Did I mention that all of this is completely free? Yeah, I said that. It's completely free. And in order to gain access to this free mini course, all you need to do is pre-order my book, Building the Literacy Block. If this sounds like something that you are interested in, you can head over to www.buildingtheliteracyblock.com and follow the instructions on the page to gain access to this free mini course today. This offer is only available for the pre-order of this book, so you don't want to miss out on this opportunity. After listening through this video, take some time and sit and reflect on the practices from day to day. Do you have a structure? Are you following the same pattern or routine? Do all of your components take up the majority of your literacy block? I'd love to know the answers down in the comment section of this video. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will catch you all next time. Bye.